You're not quitting in the obvious way. It's not dramatic like walking away from things. It's smaller than that. It's the way your hand reaches for your phone the second the work gets uncomfortable, or the way you stand up from the desk a few minutes too early, and the way you tell yourself you'll come back to it and then don't. You've been training that response your entire adult life without realizing it. Every time you took the easy exit, you made it a little more automatic. But history's most undefeated warrior left behind a blueprint for this exact crisis. By the end of this video, you'll understand why your nervous system is wired this way and how that instinct works against what you're trying to build. You'll also see the cognitive system Musashi refined in isolation and how it aligns with modern neuroscience. No fluff, no endless routines, just the warrior's code for a clear mind and the one specific thing you need to execute tomorrow morning to reclaim your focus. Let's get into it. Here's what's actually happening. You sit down to write, train, or do the thing you keep saying matters to you. The first few minutes are fine, then it gets hard. You feel that small sting of, this is difficult, and before you've made a conscious decision, your hand is already moving toward the phone. You scroll for a minute. You feel slightly better. You come back, but the work is still hard. The sting comes back, and your hand moves again. That's not laziness or a willpower problem. That's called a flinch response. At some point, your brain learned that discomfort is a threat. Not a real threat, not like a tiger or a fall, but the discomfort of a blank page, a hard workout, a conversation that requires honesty. Your brain treats those small stings the same way it would treat something physically dangerous. It floods you with the urge to escape. And every time you take that exit, you teach your nervous system one thing: flinching works because it makes the discomfort stop. So it reinforces the response, faster each time, lower threshold each time, until eventually you can't sit through 2 minutes of mild resistance without your hand moving on its own. The samurai understood this problem in a very literal way. A samurai who flinched in combat died. Not metaphorically. The instant the body reacted to fear instead of holding position, the fight was over. So they built their entire training around one principle: training the nervous system to stay present when every signal in the body says retreat. Musashi wrote about it in the Book of Five Rings, which he finished in Reigando Cave in 1643. He said, "The warrior who has not learned to endure discomfort has not yet begun real training. Everything else is just decoration." Before I get to how they actually trained it, I want to show you what's happening inside your nervous system the moment you flinch, because the mechanism is more specific than most people realize. There's a small structure in your brain called the amygdala. Its job is to detect threat and trigger a response. It evolved to handle physical danger, predators, falls, and injury. When it fires, it floods your system with stress chemicals and pushes you toward one of three options: fight, flee, or freeze. The problem is it doesn't distinguish between physical danger and psychological discomfort. The sting of a hard sentence and the sting of a sharp branch register the same way. Both are stress signals. Both want resolution now. So you sit down to do hard work, feel that first wave of resistance, and your amygdala quietly fires. It's not a full panic, just a low hum of something wrong that says, "Get out of this." You reach for the phone, the hum stops, and your brain logs that sequence. Do that enough times, and escape becomes the automatic response to any discomfort, including the kind that produces every meaningful thing in your life. The samurai understood this. Their training wasn't really about building muscle or skill. It was about building the capacity to receive that stress signal and not move, to feel the hum and stay anyway. That capacity is called gammon. So how did they actually train it? Because it wasn't gritted teeth and willpower. It was something more precise than that. Gammon doesn't just mean endurance. That translation loses the most important part. The closer version is dignified perseverance through discomfort. But what makes it different from just toughing something out is this. Gammon isn't about gripping against the pain. It's about remaining composed and present while the discomfort is happening, soft inside the hardness, not fighting it or escaping it, just staying. Most modern advice about discipline is about white-knuckling through difficulty. That approach eventually fails because it runs on willpower, and willpower runs out. Gammon is the opposite. It's training the nervous system so that staying becomes the default, not the effort. Samurai trained this through deliberate, scheduled exposure to controlled discomfort, standing in the cold at dawn, sitting in meditation past the point of pain, practicing forms until the arms failed and continuing past that, not for performance gains, purely to train the response. Every time a samurai sat through discomfort without flinching, he rewrote something in his nervous system. The automatic instruction that said discomfort means escape got replaced with discomfort means stay. Do that enough times and the whole architecture shifts. The amygdala still fires, the signal still comes, but there's a pause now between the signal and the response, a moment of choice. That pause is everything. That's where the man who finishes lives, versus the man who almost did. But how can you incorporate Musashi's samurai training into your modern life? By using this one simple exercise. It's called the 20-minute hold. Once a day, pick one task that produces real resistance. Writing, training, the conversation you've been avoiding, whatever you keep circling around without admitting you're avoiding it. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Phone in another room. No music, no podcast, no exits. For 20 minutes, you do not flinch. When the resistance comes, and it will come within the first few minutes, you don't escape it. You don't switch tasks, you don't get up, you don't reach for anything. You sit inside the discomfort and let it move through you. Your mind will generate a dozen reasons why this particular session doesn't count, why you should pause and come back later, why there's something more urgent you should be handling. That's the flinch response talking. That's exactly what you're here to retrain. You stay and return to the work. Even if the result is bad, you don't need to produce anything great in these 20 minutes. The deliverable is stillness in the presence of difficulty. That's the rep. When the timer goes off, you stop. Consistency matters more than intensity here. Week 1 will be uncomfortable. Week 2 starts to feel different. By week 4, the urge to escape starts arriving quieter, more like a suggestion than a command. By week 8, you'll sit down to hard work and notice the flinch has genuinely slowed. That's gammon becoming your default. That's the line of code rewritten. Gammon rebuilds your response to difficulty. It works even better if you have something to return to after the effort. A calm, controlled stillness most men never develop. That's where another samurai principle comes in. Musashi lived by it, and without it, a lot of the ground you gain through gammon can slowly slip away without you noticing. If you want to go deeper and learn the next samurai principle, watch the next video on how to fix your hijacked dopamine and reclaim your focus.